Good morning, my delightful things. Welcome back or welcome to the cavern. I hope everyone had a lovely Thanksgiving and enjoyed the weekend. I know Thanksgiving can be a tough holiday for some people because not everyone's family is great or they all get along. Sometimes there's a lot of tension. And for others, the atrocities that occurred during that time period, I should say, it can make it difficult to find it a holiday to celebrate. Some people don't think it should be celebrated because of what happened, and I can't honestly blame them. Whether you celebrated the holiday or not, it's just a day to appreciate the ones in our lives that are there for us, that make life a little better. To the new subscribers, thank you so much for your support. It means so much to me. It really does. I couldn't ask for a better audience. With the popularity of the TV show Dahmer, I felt like looking into the killer because I really don't remember much about him. I just know he was a cannibal. That's all I remember. I haven't seen the show, and I won't. I've mentioned it before. I don't like serial killers. I really don't like talking about them or researching them because of the trauma in their childhoods. It's a lot. So it's probably odd for me to go back to a serial killer after knowing that. But the reason why I chose this is because Hollywood seems to alter facts to make things more exciting or interesting for the viewers, even though even documentaries, they're not even exempt from this. So I figured for those of you that have seen the show, maybe you can see what facts they kept and what they altered and maybe learn something new about Dahmer. So Jeffrey Dahmer was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in 1960. Jeffrey's father, Lionel, was a research chemist, and his mother, Joyce, was a homemaker. Dahmer's childhood was a little bit of an anomaly. He didn't have a background of physical or emotional abuse from his parents, like most serial killers. However, Dahmer was severely neglected by his parents. Joyce suffered from mental health issues, which most likely started as postnatal depression. Lionel had difficulties coping with his wife's ailment, and instead of trying to help his wife, he retreated to his lab, leaving an unstable and heavily medicated Joyce alone for long stretches with her 2 children. That doesn't sound normal to me. Trauma in childhood doesn't have to be physical. Any stressful event can still have negative effects on a child. From a young age, Dahmer was creating a fantasy world to deal with what was happening around him. Lionel was aware that his wife was having a major breakdown. He would occasionally wake up in the middle of the night to find her lying in a field in her nightgown, yet they didn't talk about their problems out loud. Jeffrey learned from Lionel how to hide his feelings early in life because that's how his dad did everything. Even so, he was described as a happy and energetic child until the age of 4. At the age of 4, he underwent a double hernia surgery for it on his groin, which probably sent Dahmer down his murderous path. The procedure is terrifying for an adult, never mind a child, and no one explained what was happening to him, or the procedure, what to expect, nothing about it. So when he woke up from the anesthesia, he was in intense pain in his groin. No one talked about it. So from the age of 4, he developed a huge distrust in the world. This is when Dahmer began to have an obsession with animal bones, which he gathered from underneath the house. Lionel assumed that Dahmer was just gaining an interest in science, so he encouraged it. He eventually taught Jeffrey how to remove the flesh from the bones of roadkill using chemicals. The chemicals his father introduced him to were the same ones he used to dissolve the victims. When Dahmer reached the age of 6, his family moved from Wisconsin to Ohio. The move and the birth of his younger brother, David, seemed to unsettle him further. He had a shyness and a low self-esteem that stopped him from bonding with other children. Shortly after the move, his trust issues worsened when a schoolmate pranked him. A friend from school invited Jeffrey to strangle him around the neck, promising they wouldn't tell the teachers. As Jeffrey was about to put his hands around his friend's neck, the little boy went straight to the teacher to tell them about the incident. Dahmer received 10 lashes on his backside because of the incident, which gave him a lifelong lesson in trusting the words of others. This is part of the reason why Dahmer wouldn't let his victims go after sedating them and sexually assaulting them. He learned at the age of 6 that if they leave, he'll get in trouble. By high school, he became a loner and developed a drinking problem. It was also around this time that Dahmer realized he was gay, and at the age of 14, his interest in murder and necrophilia began. After his parents divorced, Dahmer moved in with his religious grandmother, who threw him out after catching him with another man. He enrolled in Ohio University, but his alcohol abuse caused him to drop out after one semester. He was also discharged from the military over his drunken antics. Dahmer committed his first murder in 1978 at the age of 18. His first kill was a hitchhiker named Stephen Hicks. Dahmer lured him back to his parents' empty house and buried him in the yard. Dahmer's dark fantasies combined with the isolation from his peers, along with his distrust in the world, turned him into the poster boy for serial murder and cannibalism. Basically, society failed him. I'm not going to go into what he did to his victims. Show went into all the grisly details. However, he frequented gay bars or those in close proximity to find his victims, which he lured to his grandmother's house, or his parents' house, I believe. I don't remember which one it was, but Dahmer explained that he had a constant feeling of emptiness and couldn't find anything in life that gave him a sense of happiness, peace, or fulfillment. It's supposedly why he began murdering people. While in prison, he was beaten to death by a fellow inmate who was aged 25 at the time. Dahmer was 34. I'll leave articles in the description for those of you who are interested in knowing more about him and the murders and the victims. There was a lot of backlash for the show being made, and I honestly don't blame them. The families of the victims had to go through it all over again, and what's worse is people were dressing up as Dahmer for Halloween. So now you have to see these people dressed like the one that killed your family member. It's just sick. I don't feel the show needed to be made. Nothing new is known about Dahmer or his victims, and we shouldn't be glorifying serial killers. They're not people to be idolized. They were sick individuals who had troubled childhoods that didn't get the help they needed. It's disturbing how many movies and shows are made about these people, especially since they focus on the murders and not what shaped the killer. It's like we want to paint them as monsters instead of showing how abuse, trauma, and the brain caused all of it. How else can we understand how to prevent it in the future if we don't look at the causes? And what's worse is that we add things that never happened to documentaries. For instance, when I was in college, I did a paper on Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. And my resources, one of which was a book that a detective who was on the case wrote. And in that book, there was no mention that Richard Ramirez was a pedophile or child molester. Yet, in a documentary that was on Netflix, no, I did not watch it. I saw the little description because it popped up. It said that he was a pedophile. And I immediately went, what? So I looked up online. And no, there is no facts that he was. None whatsoever. There is speculation that a 6-year-old little girl was one of his victims, but his DNA was not found at that crime scene. So there is no evidence tying him to that victim. So where is this evidence? He never targeted teenagers. The youngest, I think, was 18 for his victims, and the oldest was in their 60s. I think they were 65. It bothers me that even documentaries you have to be careful of because they lie. They want people to just have this negative viewpoint of serial killers, and these people were just broken individuals. They're not monsters. Unfortunately, without proper care and all that trauma, you need proper care. Anything can happen. People can only be pushed so far before they find a breaking point. But enough of me ranting and raving. I'm so sorry. For those of you who have seen the show, how did his childhood differ from the information provided? Did they add things, change things, or did they actually keep it pretty close to the facts? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Later this week, I'll be switching gears since it is going to be December. Hard to believe. I can't believe how fast the holidays are coming. I don't tend to watch horror movies this time of year. I tend to watch more holiday movies, as most of you probably do. So I'll be reviewing the new Wednesday series on Netflix Friday, and maybe even Sandman, because I just realized I never actually reviewed it, and I've watched that whole show, and I can't wait for the second season. So if you haven't seen either one, they're both on, I believe. Okay, I know Sandman is on, I think it's on HBO, or is it on Amazon? I don't remember where it is. I will tell you in the description below. Thank you so much. Take care until next time. Bye, everyone.